Heyo, it's Slash here, and we're doing a little CW Minipod. I'm here with Serpe.
Hello.
There's my boy. So we're just going to talk about the Spectres postseason and how it kind of disappointed us after a pretty good regular season. So you want to maybe go over what happened if you followed it?
Yeah, so the Spectres got a bye in the postseason because they did finish second overall in the league. So then they ended up going against the Texas Renegades, who out of nowhere began to play amazing. So in games 1 and 2, the Spectres lost, and it was mayhem in the streets of New Orleans. Let me tell you, there were almost cars being flipped. And the star player for Texas had to be their goalie, Walter Hobbs. He put on a show this whole series, but more importantly, in these two first games to give them a 2-0 lead. And then following that, the Spectres came back and put the series tied 2-2. They had a big 5-3 win and a big 4-3 win. So Hobbs kind of let Texas down there, and the Spectres finally found out the secrets how to score on him, glove low. And then game 5, we have the Renegades winning in overtime. The overtime goal that was scored by the stud defenseman for Texas, the dude. And this was a heartbreaker for New Orleans because they have to go home down 3-2 against a surging Renegades. So then we have game 6, and here's the heartbreaker. Texas wins 4-3, and Texas had 2 goals in the third. The Spectres were up 3-2, and they blew the lead. So that was unfortunate. That ended a playoff run for the second overall team in the league. This is not where you wanted to end in the second round of the SHL playoffs.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That was a really good recap. I just think it was pretty unfortunate to go out in that round. Though, I mean, I did have Texas matching up against us in our playoff predictions, and when I looked at the stats versus in the regular season, they did kind of beat us out on that. So I actually had Texas beating us in 7. So as disappointing as it was, I knew that they kind of outplayed us in the regular season. So to see that not much changed in the playoffs was a little disappointing. And Joe was saying, that they were all pretty close games when we lost, overtime, uh, 1 goal games, all that. So there wasn't much he thought he could do to really change things up so he could take the series home. So,
Yeah, it was unfortunate because I had the Spectres going all the way to the finals and winning in my predictions. So those were very bad. But it is in the sim, anything can happen. But this was something I didn't see happening. I didn't think the Texas could have beat NOLA. So
yeah, but next season we have a lot of good players coming up who can hopefully score in those big moments, and when we're going to overtime against Texas, maybe Serpe can step up and really just blast a slap shot, glove low on Hobbs,
oh
and
yeah, or maybe pinch a little too much and give up a 2-on-1 so Texas can repeat what happened this season. But let's not hope for that.
well, I'm getting
Slash.
I'm getting my size up so that I'll be able to cover more of the net when they have that two
That's
on
good.
one.
That's good.
But yeah, I mean,
Who do you think was your star of the series?
of
Texas and NOLA.
yeah, definitely the goalie when he could hold on in overtime and just keep the scoring down. We had the top goal scorer in the league in Demarcus Smith, so seeing him kept off the board as much as he was impressive and disappointing. And just I wish my player performed better, but he's still very young, and I'm still grinding that TPE. I'm getting to a point where I'm just putting it in stats that I never really wanted to. I got the size coming up there. That's my weakness. So, um,
Yeah, that's good.
getting that
I'm
up.
gonna have to go with my star of this series
Mm-hmm.
to be a Spectre,
Ooh.
and that's Olsen Fletcher.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Evo's player had an amazing series. Put down those talks of retirement. Put him away. This player will be good for another 4 to 5 seasons. And
Definitely.
then for an MVP for the Renegades, I'd probably go with Walter Hobbs. He solidified his franchise potential as a goalie in this
Mm-hmm.
series for sure. Personally, I haven't really heard of him before the series, and
Yeah.
he's played on to the top goalies in the league onto that list.
Well, I think he's a max earner. He was a SMJHL GM. I don't know if he still is. I think last in Halifax, so maybe he retired from that. But yeah, I mean, he's a young goalie too. In the end, he's reaching his prime, almost getting regression in a couple
Yeah, he's
seasons.
about
But
he's at season 40, so he's
yeah,
gonna get a couple more years of earning because he's already at about 1,300 TP, and for a goalie, that pretty much means you're maxed out.
yep, that's the sweet spot. I mean, after that, you're just putting it in dumb shit like penalty shot or banking it and getting ready for regression.
Yeah, but he really did good. The whole Texas team did good. They didn't surmise to Nola,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
big
coming
power.
in as a wild card, beating out
It was like David versus Goliath.
yeah, beating out San Fran, who no one really expected to do any damage. I mean, getting to the postseason is nice for them, but they still have a ways to go before they're really a contender, I think. But
Yeah. So looking at possibly next season playoff, do you see Texas being there again?
yeah, I mean, with the dude, he's not active anymore, but he's still got a shitload of TPE, and he built a really good player. Hobbs is still going to be getting TPE. I don't really know who they're adding if they're calling anyone up.
The dude's
Um,
still active.
I mean,
He
I know
just
him.
does not update.
He's definitely not paying too much attention to the SHL. He's definitely doing
No.
other things in his life. So uh, he still loves to come around and shit talk like he does, but
Yeah.
he's not grinding.
Um, I will say this: their back end's looking real nice.
Yeah.
They're gonna have 3 players over 1,300 TPE, so they're gonna be able to keep running those guys out for 20 plus minutes a game.
Mhm.
But their prospects pool's looking dry.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel Carlson too. He's the GM of the team, so
Yeah, he
he's
can
gonna
still grow
be
for a couple more seasons before as well.
definitely.
It's regression. And even looking at their forwards, while they only really have one star in Louis Garrett,
Yep.
they still have a couple other 1,000 TP earners in Jensen,
Yeah.
Esselum, and Khan.
Mhm.
So it should be interesting to see if they can even get back to the playoffs because this forward core on paper doesn't look promising compared to a NOLA team that has 4 guys over 1,500.
Yeah.
6 guys over 1,400. So yeah. So do you think Nola will be back next season?
Nola will, for sure. I mean, we lost a couple guys like Andani, Horvat, but adding in Slothface and Fox, I think will really just take their place, and they'll get better as the season goes on, as compared to maybe some slower earners or inactive people. And I mean, I think Texas will make it back just on the basis of um, the division they're in. I mean, LA sold pretty hard this last season, and San Fran is notoriously bad in the sim, I'd say. So
Yeah. So also with Nola, I think this is going to be Nicholas Williams' breakout season
yeah,
because they're going to need to pass the torch to somebody here on the forward line pretty soon, and I think
hmm
Williams is going to show that this season. He was around in the playoffs. He did score. He was right around a point per game. So that's it's gonna be interesting.
yeah. I mean, sooner or later, he's just really gonna kill it. Huge ad for the Spectres in free agency, and It's a good all-around dude, so he'll be leading this team for ways to come offensively, I think. But
Yep.
that's about the time. We actually went over the time, but it was fun just talking about this shit, so I don't really care. But thanks for listening to the Minipod. Thanks for joining me and
Yep. Thanks for
getting that
tuning in.
getting that
We'll see you
TPE.
guys next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Have a good one.